Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Metroid Prime Remastered. In the last part, we reached the Phazon Mines finally, and I've got about halfway through them, and we're still not leaving this area, this part. The Phazon Mines is definitely one of the more in-depth first visits, if only because it's a gigantic straight line we have to go through twice, even on the first visit. I do like that room, though. You blow up that crate there, makes the gas near the vents explode and kills two space pirates that are trying to jump down onto you. I just think that's kind of funny. Okay, this room, we got some notable pirate data in here. Log 10.023.7. Security Command issued an all-points alert after the fall of Zebes. The alert concerns Bioform Samus Aran, also known as the Hunter. Subject is heavily armed and extremely dangerous. Subject uses a powered armor suit of unknown design in battle, along with a number of potent beam and... accidentally got off the lock there. Concussive weapons. All combat units are instructed to terminate Aran on sight, preferably in a fashion that will allow salvage of her powered armor suit and weapons. A considerable bounty will go to the unit who delivers Aran to command. Dead or alive, it matters not. Ah, good to see they like us, in some form. Log 11.156.9. Investigations into a possible ingress point for the impact crater continue to meet with failure. The shield of strange energy that protects it is impermeable, and all attempts to tunnel past it have proven fruitless. Our continued futility in this matter is made all the more significant in light of the recent lifeform readings we've discovered emanating from deep within the crater. Analysis of the readings indicates that a massive crater is gestating there, absorbing enormous amounts of Phazon from the Phazon core at the heart of the impact crater. This discovery makes accessing the crater doubly important. Not only will it open the door into the vast deposits of Phazon within, it'll also lead us to this creature, whatever it may be. That doesn't sound good. Now time for another mini-boss, and it's one I've always loved the design of, even though it's ultimately pretty easy to kill. And I'm scanning the wrong part. We don't need to scan the artillery cannon, we need to scan the main part here of the Elite Pirate. Phazon Enhanced Space Pirate, incredibly strong, armored, and well-armed. Elite Pirates are potent foes. Their energy siphon system absorbs beam weapon shots. The nature of this system makes them vulnerable to concussion-based weapons. Well-armed, the Elite Pirate is effective in close combat and at a distance. Their massive size can be a weakness, and their sluggish speed allows for evasion and quick attacks. So these things bring up a little energy vacuum that sucks in any of your actual beams, but you can still hit them with missiles and super missiles at basically all times. They can shoot their artillery cannons, but their main attack they're going to do is a ground shockwave. You can just jump over pretty quickly. Two super missiles can kill you. While 2 to 4, I think they actually have a variant amount of HP if memory serves. Depends on the one you're fighting, and we will be fighting a couple of them. They're not quite a missable scan, I think, or at least there's more opportunities than most missable scans to get them. Log 11.222.8. Science team is attempting to reverse engineer Samus Aran's arsenal based off of data acquired from her assaults on our forces. Progress is slow, but steady. Command would dearly enjoy turning Aran's weapons against her. We believe we can implement beam weapon prototypes in 3 cycles. Aran's power suit technology remains a mystery, especially the curious morph ball function. All attempts to duplicating it have ended in disaster, for test subjects were horribly broken and twisted when they engaged our morph ball prototypes. Science team wisely decided to move on afterward. I've always loved that log. Even the series itself doesn't know how the morph ball works, and I find that just incredibly humorous. Also, here we have the third of the trooper types we're going to be encountering for now, the Ice Troopers. These are another one that are pretty easily taken down because you can just hit them with an Ice Beam charge shot to freeze them, and then hit them with continuous charge shots while they're just frozen there until they die. Because even if it doesn't look like it's doing anything, hitting enemies with multiple Ice Beam charge shots is still doing damage. It's just that you're not getting any visual feedback from them being, like, stunned and all that. Let's see. Any pirate data up here? We're getting close to the end of the pirate datas in here. Barring the one at the very far end we're not going to be able to get until near the end of the game. What I really appreciate about the pirate logs, though, is that it really builds up Samus from their perspective to be this complete, indestructible wall, like a Terminator, and that's just always been funny to me. Log 11.664.2. There have been numerous incidents involving spectral entities at the Chozo ruin sites. Several personnel have been assaulted by these Chozo ghosts, few have survived. Survivors speak of swift attacks from nowhere, brief sightings of the enemy, then nothing, only to be followed by another attack. Science team believes these attacks are in response to our efforts to recover Chozo relics and artifacts. Somehow these entities are able to interact with the physical world, and it appears they wish to keep their artifacts to themselves. We will make them pay for such arrogance, for even ghosts can be destroyed. Can they, though? I thought Mario 64 said otherwise. Log 11.377.1. Analysis continues on these cursed ruins and the Chozo temple that hovers near them. We are now completely certain that the containment field denying us access to the impact crater is linked to the strange artifacts that belong in the temple, but we're no closer to finding them or deciphering the riddles that seem to cover every wall of this ruined place. Command grows increasingly anxious for a resolution to this matter, so we must redouble our efforts. X-ray squadrons will begin terrain sweeps within days. Until they begin, patrols are instructed to report any and all architectural anomalies to their commanders. So even they're doing the key hunt. I almost kind of feel bad. Log 11.402.5. We have come to another dead end. It is clear now that we will never discover the location of the Chozo artifacts until we can decipher the messages carved into the statues in this abominable temple. Our language databases are woefully inadequate, and our linguistic analysts can come up with little more than vague theories. The best hypothesis that we can offer is that finding artifacts will require items spiritually linked to the Chozo civilization. However, without these items, we are lost, and Command grows more impatient by the day. Results must be produced soon. Crushing deadlines. Is it weird I find them kind of relatable? Alright, this is log 11.440.4. Results are in from field studies on the bioform group Chozo, who we believe are extinct. We believe that Talon 4 was once a stronghold in a great Chozo empire, brought low by the meteor strike. Planetary devastation brought an end to the Chozo, yet remnants of their society remain. We are studying these relics in an attempt to harness their power. What is of no use to us, we destroy. In time, we shall have all we need from this dead race and shall wipe this planet clean of their ugly ruins. The dead should serve the living, not hinder them. Assholes. Log 11.452.8. Although we are still no closer to finding the artifacts of the Chozo, we have at least produced a viable hypothesis for their function. It appears that each of the artifacts corresponds to one of the statues in the temple platform, and that each one acts as a small key to a huge lock. Judging by the number of statues, we assume there must be 12 artifacts. Once we find the resting spots of all 12, we can bring them here, unite them with their statues, and open the gate system at long last. Once we do, the impact crater and whatever creature it shelters will be ours for the taking. I do appreciate that they're at least... They're incompetent, but at least they can find some amount of progress on their own as villains. I've never quite understood why they make the puffers come out there and make it seem like it's a big threat. You can just leave that room immediately. It is a poisoned room now, though, so walking in there will just damage you outright. Not that it's going to be poisoned for long, and it's not a big threat to begin with. I should note, though, I don't do it on this visit, I think, to the mines, but keep in mind this room for down the line, because the map room for the Phazon Mines is actually just across the way from us, but we can't open it until we get the next power-up. Also, I'm not sure if I actually need to take out these space pirates. I just do it in case I want to scan anything. I think you could just go straight to that ice beam door ahead of us and you'd be completely fine. Keep in mind that I opened this force field for a few minutes from now. It might be kind of funny in retrospect. Let's see, any pirate data? Oh yeah, there's one. Log 11.232.8. Elite pirate Upsilon's propensity for Phazon has enabled our research team to infuse it far beyond our safety restrictions, and the results have been extremely encouraging. Its constant Phazon diet has increased its mass exponentially, but it has retained all mental faculties and shows dexterity with all elite weaponry, including plasma incendiary launchers and the chameleon manta issued for cloaking purposes. Elite pirate Upsilon exhibits miraculous healing abilities. When injured, it seeks out Phazon deposits and coats itself in the substance, which instantly mends the creature's wounds. The subject, which we are now codenaming Omega Pirate based on these developments, shows potential to be a new standard for our armies. Our only concern at this point is its potential overdependence on Phazon. And based off how many tests you guys have probably done, probably the unlikelihood of getting another one to show up easily. It's probably like the Tyrant from Resident Evil like that, but that's an entirely different topic. And here we are at last. That's the last pirate data we're going to be finding for a while, because this room here is our goal. We actually have a little bit of a mini-boss here against an invisible security drone. Thankfully, this thing doesn't have a unique scan. It's just one but invisible. I don't do it here. I actually recommend using the Wave Buster to take this thing out, because the Wave Buster also auto-locks on no matter where the enemy is. Plus, that method still works even if you're not locked on, so it just goes really quick. And here we have one of the few true instances of RNG, rather, barring boss patterns in the game. We have a Morph Ball maze here to get to that next power-up. It is randomly generated every playthrough. Sometimes you can just waltz straight into the power-up without having to do anything. But more often than not, you're going to have to bomb some of the 2 or 3 puddles of water in here to short out some of the other electricity to get this power-up. Power Bomb acquired. Like in all the prior games that showed up in it, is extremely powerful area of effect attack that can basically kill most normal enemies in one shot. But unlike normal bombs, it is a limited ammo source. You only have 3 of them to start, and I think you can hold up to a maximum of 4 right now. And if you want to fill you up, there's actually some boxes in the corner of that room that will always have Power Bomb ammo, which you also should scan, because that's also a scan you can do. And with Power Bombs, we can now destroy anything that's been labeled throughout the game, even things I haven't scanned yet, that are made of Bendesium. The problem is now, we need to immediately U-turn out of here, because even though this thing ahead of us is made of Bendesium, that direction leads to another dead end pretty quickly, so it's not worth the time and effort. There are going to be some power-ups we can grab along the way out, thankfully, which is why this place actually still takes another 10 minutes to get out of. But it is a really wide and large U-turn we immediately have to pull. But now that we have Bendesium, now that we have Power Bombs, so much of the world is opened up to us. I'd say more than basically any other power-up bar in Gravity Suit. That's why I said to remember that I turned off that force field. Why was it back on? I guess maybe that's there in case you want to, like, scan that force field and leave that room to go back to somewhere else before this point, but why would you do that when you're this deep in? Thankfully, though, the way out is overall shorter because you don't have to worry about being locked into doors and all that. If anything, the bigger thing is now there's things you can use your power bomb on, like that map room over there that I'm not going to do for a while, if only because I got other things to do. With that said, don't use your power bombs willy-nilly in combat because there are a lot of items to grab even on the way out, like right here even. Because if we power bomb that grate opens, we can come over here to scan this and turn on the fans. And even if you didn't use the save room at the far end for now of the Phazon Mines, doing this is worth it just for this energy tank, because that's a full energy recharge, I think? Yeah, getting an energy tank is full still energy recharge. Sometimes they're a little iffy on that in some games from my memory. I think in Metroid, getting an energy tank is always a full energy refill, but sometimes in Mega Man, health extensions feel like they should, but they just increase your health by that little bit. Yeah, the main thing that makes getting out of here a lot faster than getting in is a lot of the combat is now completely optional. And I think in some regards it is on the way in as well. It's just that if you want to scan all the logs in peace or unlock the few doors that are locked, it's just going to be faster to kill everything first. The weird thing about drops in this game, by the way, is that some enemies are completely random, and some are completely fixed, like the boxes in the power bomb room. I think 2 puffers in Magmar Caverns will almost always drop yellow energy when you kill them. And the inconsistency kind of bugs me. I would rather them all just be completely random, because at least then I'm like, okay, it's just chance screwing me over, not destroying the right crates for the right items. But in a game like this, more so than even the 2D Metroids, I get why, because for one thing, there's fewer missile recharge stations, which I believe will also refill your power bombs now. But for another, in a game like this, they want to make sure you have what you need in the case you don't have it, and you're trapped in a segment to prevent any kind of dead games or soft locks. So having a box here and there that guarantees a drop of like some missiles or some power bombs is ultimately necessary. I have to use this on the way up, unfortunately. So the fun thing about the power bomb, though, it actually allows us to get our next major power up almost immediately, because we can come over here back in this room, power bomb this set of Bendesium blocks, and access the third of the rotating pillar sections here. And now we can get this yellow spider ball track all the way to the top, and that actually is right where our next power-up is. You do need 2 power bombs to get this, though. You might have just gotten the power bomb, but they make you use upwards of 4 just in this backtrack through the Phazon Mines to get everything along the way. And I find that really annoying, But at least, hey, they're giving you the power-up and they're letting it use it from the start. I just wish there was more ammo drops guaranteed to make it a bit easier to do that. And this power-up's a little interesting to me, because the cutscene we're actually gonna get when we pick it up wasn't in the original release of the US game. I think it was added in, like, Revision 1 or 2 or the PAL version. Like, I think the first time I saw this cutscene was the Trilogy release. With us acquiring the grapple beam, we now have everything we had back at the frigate Orpheon. So hey, we're back up to max and beyond, and we can now scan grapple points. Grapple beam, by the way, you lock onto the grapple points and you swing. Woo. I've never been a fan of where it's placed, though. I've always thought we should have gotten this before at least the spider ball or gravity suit, because its placement's just weird. There's not a lot of sections in the game where getting the grapple beam where we do now even prevents us from getting any further power-ups. We use the power bomb for that more than the grapple beam even, so I just feel like they should have maybe placed this like right before it or right after the spider ball, just to make progression feel a little more natural. With that said, now that we're down here, we actually want to use a power bomb immediately to blow up this tank for reasons. Scan this enemy, there's only one of them in the game. This is the Phazon Elite. Elite Pirate infused with energized Phazon. The Phazon-charged Elite Pirates rely more on their wave plate generators, opting not to carry the vulnerable plasma artillery cannons normally used by Elites. The direct fusing of Phazon into their bodies provides a tremendous level of energy. The drastically lower lifespan that comes with this process is a little concern to the Phazon research team. So, that scan log kind of sums this enemy up in a nutshell. It's the Elite Pirates, but it doesn't have any of the weapons. It still has the wave generator, and it can suck in your beam still, but if you just get close and make it use the shockwave, you can just super missile in the head a little more. It's got a little more HP than basically any other Elite Pirate in the game, but otherwise it's indistinguishable barring the different scan log and different design. It is a nice design, though. I actually really like this thing, and I wish there were more of them in the game. And it's a really bad scan to miss because, in fact, there's only one. So this is where I would like to ponder a question to the watchers. Supposedly, the space pirates were having problems finding the artifacts, but they have one right there guarded by the Phazon Elite. What? I mean, I guess they could have found a couple of them. In fact, there are 2 artifacts overall here in the Phazon Mines, so that's only one of the 2. And we'll be getting the later one on our second visit here down the line. But it's just weird. Kind of a weird story, gameplay, integration thing, I guess, overall. Also, if you're wondering why I'm fighting these enemies, despite the fact I said you really don't need to on the way out, I want to have at least 2 or 3 power bombs for something coming up, because there's another missile tank I can grab on the way out of the Phazon Mines itself in the room immediately after this. But I'm going to need some at the start of next part for reasons, so I'm going to want at least 3 if memory serves. And because of the fact that enemy drops are random, barring the occasional ones that aren't, I just need to be hopeful here. I guess I could have also grinded for a few between parts in the case I didn't get what I needed here, but I didn't want to do that. Something I do want to highlight really quick that I talked about a couple of parts ago is whenever we pick up an artifact, obviously we see it glow on the screen and all that being added to the total, but you also get to see our item and scan percentage. We're at 91% scan book. You can be a little lower at this point because obviously you may not have scanned some enemies on their first showing like I have on basically every turn. But also in the case you didn't scan all the hints for the artifacts, you'd be lower because you get those scans when you pick them up anyway. I just find it funny how quickly you get all of the scan logs in this game. Because we're only at about the 2/3 mark of the LP, but there's only 9% left, and most of those are at the second visit to the Phazon Mines and beyond, which I count as the end game anyway. You just get them, it builds up pretty quickly compared to the items. Most of the remaining 5 parts are either getting the last few major power-ups or artifacts to begin with anyway. Because at this point in the game, if you're just going for the mandatory power-ups alongside the artifacts, there are only 2 mandatory major pickups in the game, and you get the next one technically pretty quick after this if you beeline for it. Assuming you know it's there to begin with. Here's why I need a power bomb, and I need to really hope I get at least one power bomb coming up right here. There we go. So now I am good on power bombs, because the place I actually need another one for immediately after the one I just got, there's a guaranteed pickup anyway. Also, I do find it funny just how many times I started or ended a session here at the Phazon Mines save point. I think a total of 3 of the 11 sessions start or end here. Kind of funny to me. But with that, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 11, we're going to leave the Phazon Mines, finally, and explore a bit, grabbing a few mandatory or optional power-ups before heading to our next major pickup. See you guys then.